Everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar, next installment of webinars for Mirabel Technologies. My name is Mark Hurt, one of the consultants here at Mirabel Technologies. In today's webinar, we're going to be covering some day in and day out type activities that you'll perform regarding your duties as a sales rep. We're going to highlight some new features that are now recently available, as well as just cover some best practices and do's and don'ts for things. You know, I know a lot of you on the call have been around with us for several years. There are some of you who are brand new with us, so your training has been relatively new. So just going to cover some do's and don'ts and best practices and things like that that are going to help you be a more effective, more productive salesperson, sales rep. Now, this is the login screen, just reminding you that Magazine Manager is a web-based product. So if you are at Starbucks or at home, at your beach house, in the office, wherever, you have internet connection, and you have a laptop or a desktop or a tablet or even your cell phone, a smartphone, you will have access to the Magazine Manager. So just go ahead and go to your site, and when you log in, I'll be on our consultant's demo or test site today. So just to give you a heads up, I hope many of you were able to join us a couple of weeks ago when we had Ryan Dorn talk to us. Ryan is a renowned consultant, sales consultant, actually publication sales consultant, and he had a really great webinar. And if you've missed any of our other webinars, maybe even that one, you can always come in here to help up in the right corner here. And in help, we have the webinars link here at the bottom, and we have a link here for past webinars. So we have the first all the way down through the last webinar. And if you weren't able to, on July 18th, see Ryan Dorn, this was an incredible webinar. If you weren't able to watch it, certainly come in to help and press watch to watch this webinar. He's going to blow out of the water anything I could ever share with you, but I actually want to tune you guys into the software and the features and things to better help you in your day-to-day activities. Remember the upcoming webinars here. Sales review, increasing productivity, that's today's webinar. And then we're going to be covering Digital Studio, a case study. And one of our consultants, Jacob, has been working really hard to put together an actual case study with one of our clients, looking at Digital Studio, digital editions, reviewing the pagination process, publishing digital editions, and cost savings and advantages with the analytics and everything. So it's something really good you're going to want to take a look at. I think recently some of you have heard about our new feature called My Lists. Today I'm actually going to be going over My Lists. But here in the Learning Center videos, keep your eye here out in the new features area, because we're going to be putting in things like the upcoming Google Calendar integration is actually really, really close to being released. We've already released in beta the My List and the Contactology, not really integration, but Contactology interface. There's a great video on here covering both of these items here. So don't forget about your Learning Center videos here, the help system. One other thing, just for good housekeeping, we always remind everyone, if the software is running strangely or you're having trouble with the software, always remember to create a tech support ticket here in the upper right-hand corner. It'll bring you up this screen here, and just remember you have to populate everything with the red asterisks and then put in a great description here, allowing whoever's working your ticket to reproduce exactly what you experienced whenever you had an issue. You can put in up to three screenshots with that. So just for good housekeeping, remember you want to take a look and do that there as well. All right, so let's take a look at the first thing, your inbox notification area. Just to remind everyone, depending on how your administrators set up your login in the employee editor, you might receive various inbox notifications. And just to give you all an example, or here is actually a list of all the options. You can get an inbox notification every time an ad's been checked in through the production module, when an ad is done, when one of your clients are billed, when one of your clients, you have a new contract on a client. Perhaps you're in an organization where you can only enter the proposals, but then you have special staff members convert those proposals to contracts. You will want to know when that happens, so you can have your administrators turn on this inbox notification for contracts. If any invoices are voided or expiring complimentary subscriptions that come up, I know many of you use the comp subscription management on the contact record, and we'll look at that here in a little bit. So you'll want to know when those comp subscriptions are expiring. Perhaps you might want to know, if you're on a partner or a shared account, when a new proposal has been added to one of your clients, if your partner rep is actually doing that, when payments are received and so forth. So there are other notifications if you are an administrator or maybe perhaps a sales director or a sales manager. The My Clients area here, this will give the user inbox notifications for only the customers who are assigned to that sales rep. If you want to see everything throughout the entire business, you'll want to set up these notifications here in the bottom and look at all information, low call volume. If you've set up goals, and we're going to be talking about goals here today, you might get a notification for low call volume for particular sales reps, expiring contracts, deleted, canceled, and so forth. So work with your system administrator to be able to turn on and off whatever inbox notifications that you receive. Now, whenever you log into the Magazine Manager, you, of course, have your announcements area here. And this is, if you'll think about this as your digital bulletin board. You also have your inbox notifications over here. So this is one, actually, I'm glad it's still in here, because I do want to mention to everyone, we've had more and more help tickets come through that are a result of people having their systems automatically or even maybe manually upgraded or updated to Internet Explorer 10. Just to remind you, there's a compatibility issue with Internet Explorer 10, and we do have some information. If you look in here, we have a document for instructions of how to uninstall IE10 and go back to 9. If you want to keep Internet Explorer 10, I know a lot of people like Internet Explorer. We would then encourage you to download and install Chrome or Firefox just so that you can use Magazine Manager without any problems. So let's say, for example, you've seen this notification and this notification, and you can actually keep your inbox cleared out by checking off what you've already addressed in your inbox notification and then mark them done. Now, we're not actually deleting these inbox notifications. Let's say that you already cleared out your inbox and you want to go back and look at that document for Internet Explorer 10, how to uninstall it. Come here to actually look at the statuses for everything that was marked done, and then it's going to pull back everything that was marked done, and then it will also show you, hang on a second here, and then it'll also show you everything else like the IE10 and things that you've already marked done. So you'll be able to actually retrieve any of the inbox notifications that have come through. Notice we have some scheduled callbacks here at the top. You can actually expand here in the inbox notification to look at anything about the about this callback. Now, we're going to kind of shift gears here because this is a great segue into what we used to do versus what we do now. So for those of you who've been around a while and you manage your callbacks, you generally will have a reminder here in your inbox notification area that you've got some callbacks scheduled for today. And then you'd have to go to reports and come down to sales and come down, I believe we have a callbacks report here. And then you can look for all the callbacks for this week, or for today. Let's look at the callbacks for today and view all the callbacks, and then call the customer. Here's the phone number. Here's their calling back. Mark it complete. If you need to note the client record, then you'll have to click in here, come to the client record, note it, save it, and jump all around, right? Well, we have added this fantastic new tool called MyLists. And in MyLists, if you haven't seen this yet, this is an amazing feature for efficiency. One of the biggest features of MyLists that we've had some of the best feedback is the actual My Callbacks section. Now, to find MyLists, you're actually going to come up to the Customers menu and come to MyList here at the top of the Customers menu. Because this is and I want to repeat this and be very emphatic about this feature is in beta. That means that it has not been released to all of our clients yet. If you want this, you'll need to open a help ticket and request to have My Lists enabled on your site. Now, because it's in beta, you may experience a bug here or there, or it may not, or it may change. So a feature may change or a field may change, over the next week or so as you're using it. Because it's in beta, it's still kind of in flux. Once we release it to production, this is actually going to be static and bug-free. So just know that when you're in, if you request to have it turned on, it's not completely perfect, ready for full production yet. But if you want to get in there, help us test it out, kind of take it through its paces and use some of the features, you're really going to enjoy using the tool. So what we just saw is something in our inbox notification area that we have some callbacks today. We go to the callbacks report, and then we go through and we click on people and go in and out of the customer record and, just kind of go all over Magazine Manager. Well, with My Lists, we've got My Callbacks. So we've got three views of My Callbacks. We have this week's callbacks, today's callbacks, and all callbacks. Let me take a quick peek of what callbacks I have scheduled for the week. So I scheduled this week's callbacks, and here they are. Here are my clients, and here are the contacts of the customer that I have scheduled a callback with. This is their phone number, all right? And if we expand here, we're going to see notes and time. Here's the note that I made when I scheduled the callback, and here's the email address for the client if we want to have the email address here, and the date and the time that the callback is supposed to occur. So let's say that we're opening up My List. I get in, I get my Starbucks coffee, put it down on my desk, and I log into Magazine Manager, and I'm ready to go and do my callbacks for today. I'll log in, go to Customers, My List, I'll go to today's callbacks. And let's just work down our list. I've got one call for today's callbacks, and that call is supposed to be 5 p.m. It's a little bit early, but I'm going to go ahead and give Alexander a call here, Alexander Springer at Alexander Consulting. And so I pick up the phone, I give him a call. Here's the phone number I call. I'm going to click on this row. Just click somewhere in here in this row and check this out. Here's all of the notes that we have on this client record already over here on the right, and the history and the date and everything these notes were made. We see that there were some letters that were sent through our integrated mailing list wizard, some of the invoices that were sent to the client, proposals that were sent to the client. So we have all this information here available at our fingertip without actually having to go to the client record. So we call, ring, ring, Alexander picks up the phone, and because we called them at their office number, Alexander says, listen, I really need to give you my cell phone number because I'm not going to be at my office much more. I'm working a lot in the field now, and I do want you to call me. So here, go ahead and take down my cell number. Okay. Well, instead of having to go to the contact record, click here, go to the customer record, edit Alexander, come in here and save and all that stuff. Instead of having to do all that stuff, we're just going to come here to My List. In here in the company record, we're going to click right in here and we're going to enter the cell phone number. When I click out of the field, we have just saved the cell phone number for Alexander in Consulting. Go back to the client record by clicking, sorry about that, by clicking the company record here, and we'll notice now for Alexander Springer, here's that cell number on the company record that I just entered from the My List interface without having to go. So what are we doing? We give Alexander a call. Alexander, we're looking at closing a deal here. Alexander says, listen, I need to talk it over with my partners. Give me a call back next week, and we'll close the deal. Great. I'm going to go to my schedule callback tab. I'm going to pick a date next week. How about the 13th? Let me give you a call at noon before you go out to lunch. Okay, great. Call to close the deal. All right. And we're going to add this callback. And we just added a brand new callback to this client record. It's been noted on the client record, and this callback on today's date, on 8/7, has been done. So we'll check off this call as complete, and we have no more callbacks. So what you'll do is you'll just continue to work down the record, work down these lists. These things are My Lists. Work down these lists, call the callbacks, quickly jump from client record to client record to client record, scheduling meeting and callbacks, leaving notes on the client's record, selecting the activity type, everything all from one efficient integrated screen here. I mean, this is This is good stuff. If you're not using it already, look forward to having you guys come on board and try it out. All right, so that's my list. Because this is a sales-focused call, I will just mention that there is an accounts receivable portion of this for you administrators and managers on board. There is an accounts receivable part for those of you, and I know most of our clients are actually invoicing and receiving payments in Magazine Manager. You're going to be able to pull a quick list, a quick My List. Show me everyone who's 60 to 90 days past due. We have 2 clients who are 60 to 90 days past due, and we're going to do collection calls. This is your collections tool. Show me customers with only open invoices. Show me customers with past due invoices. Show me customers grossly past due with over 120 days. They were not here. But as you can see, this is a great tool, just like for the sales reps, for the accounting team to go down and work down the list and take a look and note, schedule callbacks. If you get these guys, ESPN World Sports, you get hands on the, and this is your billing contact, by the way. You get the billing contact on the phone, and he says, yeah, you know what, I'm ready to pay. Sorry about that. Oh, you guys, owe you guys another $250. We paid most, it's $20,000. Perfect. Click the Receive Pay Invoice. Takes you right to the invoice screen where you can put in the payment, and a lot of you know what this is if you're in accounting. You know what this looks like. Make the payment. Refresh this screen once this invoice is paid, and this client drops off the list. Again, you can click from client record to client record, making notes, scheduling callbacks, jumping right here. Now, you do have some summary level information. You see the number of invoices they have, how much is outstanding, how much is paid. If they have 7 or 8 invoices, or 2 or 3, and you need to get more information about these invoices, just simply click to the Go to Contact Record. You're 2 clicks away on the details page, and here are the outstanding invoices here that are listed for the client. So again, My List is used. It's going to be used by you and your team to efficiently and quickly work through lists to perform activities. Switching gears back into the sales arena, we've talked about the inbox notification area, My List. There's another nice management tool called to-do lists. Now, in your to-do list, this can be something that's used by a sales team lead, or maybe by a particular sales rep that needs some help in helping assign other people to do things for them. Right now, I click the to-do list under the quick links, and this brings us to our to-do list interface. The information up at the top here, this is for searching existing to-do list items. To add a new to-do list item, you would actually go to the new task here at the bottom, and we're going to take a scenario that we have an upcoming event, and we need to have someone call the venue to give us pricing or change the count of booths or stalls we're planning for to have something else. So we're going to create a to-do list item for someone else inside our office here at our publishing company. Call venue for pricing, okay? And this priority is pretty darn high because we got to get it done, and we need to have some feedback, have it done by Friday. So we're going to stick the 9th on here, and we're going to add this to-do list item. Now, once you have this to-do list item, you can actually come inside and edit the to-do list item and assign it to any other Magazine Manager enabled user here. You can actually make that assignment, give it a priority. You can make it private, having it visible to the assigned person only. You can even set up a project if you need to. Remember, for you admins on the call, way back when in the admin training, we showed you how to set up to-do list projects and priorities. All right, this priority list is customizable. This project list is customizable. In management, site setup, website setup, you're actually going to come in here to the to-do list priorities and to-do list projects, and this is simply where you set these things up. All right, pretty easy to do. So go in here to the to-do list, assign the tasks. When the tasks are done, you can the person who it's actually assigned to, can mark this task completed, and then it'll gray out, or even you can delete it once it's done here. So that's another nice tool. A lot of people forget about. You hear about it in the initial training, and you kind of forgot about this. And yeah, this is a good way to do this. Now let me point out something here for you sales reps online who are thinking about how you can use this integrated with your customer how you can assign to-do lists. So let's look up a customer of ours. I'll just jump right from here because we have it. Mercedes. I'm going to jump to the company record. And let's say that you're going to schedule a callback or a meeting, and you want to make sure and add it to the to-do list because you want to have a reminder, right? Well, you actually don't want to add any particular callback or a meeting as a to-do list item because built into Magazine Manager is a system for notification and reminders. So for any other notes, if you want to make a note on the client record and add it to your to-do list, let's see, make sure this client attends the event, okay? You probably are going to schedule a callback or a meeting, but just a general note to yourself, add it to your to-do list, make sure this client attends. We're adding it to the to-do list. All right, save our information, come to our to-do list, and here we go, Mercedes. Make sure the client attends the meeting. You're going to work on this. You can set yourself a due date here and make sure that they're in before the 16th, before the end of next week. Okay? So that's another pretty cool thing to do with to-do lists. Talking about logging client activity, remember in a data-driven, data-centric world, all of your information is where the value is for you as a sales rep. History of notes, histories of meetings, scheduling documented callbacks. You should never have an engagement with a client that you do not document here in Magazine Manager. If you bump into them at the mall and you say, yeah, hey, listen, I'll give you a call next week, we'll talk about whatever, document that. If they call you and you guys chit-chat about something coming up in a couple weeks, document it. You need to put them on your calendar for a meeting or a callback. You want to document that. You want to put that on the calendar, put that in the meeting, put it in the client record. It shows up on your easy to do my list. Callbacks here on my list. And just make sure you document that because that is where the value of your system, the value of your stuff is in the information. While I'm here in my list, I did want to touch on a couple more things I kind of skimmed over. You actually have a quick and easy way to see all of your clients that you have assigned to you as a sales rep. So you come to My Contacts, and you come in here to My Clients, My Contacts, and this is a list of all of your contacts. So whatever you want to do, you can just click here, look at information, look at notes, call them up. These are the primary contacts at your companies. And so call them up with this phone number, make notes, meetings, things like that. You can look at the last 100 contacts. And because this is in beta, we're still defining exactly how this is going to work. Right now, what the last 100 contacts does, this gives you the top 100, the latest 100 contacts who've had their file touched, who has an invoice or a note or a scheduled meeting or anything that is any company that is part of the last 100 companies you touched. You'll have it on this list here, all right? You can actually create and search custom lists. On this search tab here, you have set up contact types. You've set up, where are we at here? Contact groups. You know, I want to see all of my people, automotive people. I need to go down all my automotive people, quickly call them, get them in our next issue because we've got 3 pages I need to sell. I'm going to do a quick search for automotive and find all my automotive custom people. I've got 2 people, Audi USA and BMW. If this is a list that you commonly want to come back to and work this list, and let's pretend it has a lot more on here than what this has, you can save this, and you can call this automotive clients. All right? Save that search so that the next time you come to my lists and you come to your saved searches, you have your automotive clients. You can run it. Now remember, these lists, and it happens the same way in the Mailing List Wizard, this is a dynamic list. Just because we saved this automotive clients list and has 2 people on it, when you start entering new prospects or new customers and they're automotive people, this list will grow as your personal database as a sales rep, as your client's database grows, so with this list. So when you run this automotive clients 3 months from now, I sure hope and I would anticipate you're going to have a lot more people on this list. Okay? The other cool thing is if you've been using the communications module, the mailing list wizard, and you've saved certain mailing lists that you want to e-blast out or you want to contact in mass, these mailing lists that you've saved are actually available here in the My List area. So you can pull, even though you created this list to be a fax, or not a fax, I'm sorry, but an email blast list, you can come to the same list and use it as a call list and work down this list as a call list. So we're trying to tile everything together. If you do something in one side for emails, we're going to have it available for you to call in the call section. Now, I will say this, these saved searches that you created here, all of your automotive clients, they don't actually show up as a mailing list. It's a one-way communication. If you set up in the mailing list wizard, a mailing list is going to show up here in the My List. If you set up a save search for calling My List, the save searches are not going to walk back across and show up in the mailing list wizard. Just to let you know, it's only a one direction kind of thing. All right, so goals. Let's talk about goals. I'm a member of LA Fitness, and I enjoy exercising a few times a week because I need to exercise and burn off all those thousands of calories that I love to eat. So one of the things that I hear in there every day that I go in there is a really great phrase that I really enjoy, and it's so true. It says, what gets measured gets improved. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell their personal training services to us, to the gym members. So, you know, you measure your percent body fat, you measure your measurements and do all this stuff. And as you measure it, the philosophy is as you keep documenting, keep measuring, it's going to keep improving, right? So the same concept actually can be applied here in the Magazine Manager, and that what gets measured is actually your goal. As a sales rep, your team and possibly even you will be able to set up your own sales goals depending on how your admin set up your account. But for you administrators to actually set up sales goals, if you've never done this before, you would actually set up goals per employee. So you'd go into the employee editor, come in here and edit and view the sales goals for this employee. Now let me talk about the kinds of goals you can track. You can track phone call goals whenever your sales reps log phone calls that are placed, callbacks, any meetings that are scheduled and performed. You can put a meeting goal in that they have to have 25 meetings a month or whatever it is, or 100 calls a week or whatever. You can put these calls in, and when your sales reps, pardon me a moment. Sorry about that, I had a cough. When your sales reps go in and document their activity in Magazine Manager, those actuals will be reported against the goals that are there. Now, the types of sales goals that you can record are total contract sales goals. So for me, I put in $10,000 a month that I want to be able to sell. And I'm actually 899% over because I have $89,000 in contracts. So what you see here in the goals report, the gold is the sale. I'm sorry, the gold is the goal. The blue is the actual sale underneath the goal, and the red is everything that exceeds the goal. Now these are total contract sales for the sales reps, regardless if it's print, if it's digital, if they're events, whatever they are. You can also enter issue goals by zone here for the rep, for the year, for the product. All right, the .com website. You can actually set up actual goals against this. Let's get one with issues. All right, so we have a product here called Organic Delights 1. And we have a no issues, any sales not on issue. We could set a goal for that. We can set a goal for January, February, March, April, and May. For the administrators or the sales managers on the call to actually quickly save or set these goals, press this button here with a pencil on it. And we're going to set the default goals for all of our issues. Let's say the default sales goal is $25,000. We set the goal. The goal is automatically set here. And now you have your actual comparisons against the goals. Now, let's say, for example, in August, Mark actually takes vacation every year for 2 weeks. Well, we're not going to hold him to a $25,000 goal. We're actually going to reduce this goal and hope he can get us in $12,000 for this month for the sales, or for this issue, for this sales. So we can actually change that goal individually, or double-click and change any one of these other goals, press save, and then all of your graphs and everything should refresh with that new goal. Okay. So these are the goals. Now, what we've looked at so far is everything in the management tab. And for you sales reps who are not administrators, you cannot get to the management tab. So you'll probably want to gauge yourself, measure yourself, because what gets measured gets improved. You want to come into the sales reports, sales, and then come down here to the goals report. This goals report is structured similar to what we just saw there. So you can look at your contract sales, your calls, goals, your contract goals, meeting goals, look at them by week or monthly, and which week or month you want to look at, sales by zone, sales by issue. Now, the goals don't roll up. So if you want to look at the, all the goals for all the sales reps, for all the, you're not going to be able to do that because at whatever level you enter your goals are the level at which you're going to be able to report the goals. I believe we have we had a goals. Nope, perhaps not. I needed to look at that ahead of time. So anyway, you'll be able to report the goals and see the goals against what's been entered. So keep measuring yourself, sales goals over here in Quick Links, and what you measure will continue to get you improved. Okay. Another tool I'm going to take a look at as a sales tool is actually, and we're going to kind of change our interface here a little bit, is the .mobi site. If you have, and let me make a distinction here before I talk about this. This site is for if you're using an Android phone or an iPhone or a Galaxy or something like that, for a phone, a small screen, not a tablet, not an iPad. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, but this is for the phone. If you're out in the field and you have a smartphone, you don't have your laptop with you, you don't have whatever, and you want to look up a client, or maybe you want to schedule a quick meeting or a note or a callback with a client, you can actually do that from your .mobi site. So what I'm going to do is show you how to get to your .mobi site, and I'm going to pretend like we're on our phone. So I'm going to kind of rearrange here. Let's see. I'm going to rearrange my browser to make it look like I'm on a phone. So this, if you will, pretend that this is going to be a cell phone screen, okay? And you're going to open your web browser in your cell phone screen. All right? It's not going to look anything like this, but you know, if you're a smartphone user, you know where your browser is, you know what it looks like, you know how to get into it. So in the address area in your screen, you're going to type in your site name, consultants.magazinemanager.mobi or CanadaY, CWM, whoever, .magazinemanager.mobi. This is your mobile site. Okay? When you get to your mobile site, this is what it looks like. It looks a lot different than what you're already used to using. Do not expect a full-featured being able to put in contracts and send out proposals and all that. Don't expect all of that. That's not what this is intended for. This is intended to give you access to your CRM database, do some research for contracts for customers that already exist, add new clients, search for customers, searching notes, scheduling meetings and callbacks, things like that. So in here, you're going to type in your username and password, and then you're going to press login. All right? And this, again, is always on your phone screen. And this is your main menu. This is your .mobi site. This is your main menu on your phone screen. You've got your inbox notification area here. Take a look at what's here. Got some callbacks. If I want to see a callback for interior designs, I can click that, and any notes that are here, we can mark it done. We can mark it all done, whatever we want. We'll go back to our inbox notification area. Any meetings or calendar items you have scheduled or called back, any callbacks you have scheduled, here are your callbacks for today, for tomorrow. All callbacks scheduled in the future, here they are. You want to make that callback, click it, and what's going to happen, what's cool about this, is that because you're on your smartphone, This phone number is actually, and as I touched, I don't know why it's kind of disappearing, but I can actually push this button and it calls the client. All right, so I don't have to type in the phone number. The integration allows you not to have to put in a lot of information. Have that call back. All right, come in here and make a note on the client record when you have that call back. If you want to look at your recent contacts, you want to search your contacts. Let's do a search in here. And let's look for the company, The Magazine Manager. All right. And I'm going to look, for all sales reps. I don't care who. Just I want to find the Magazine Manager. Are they in here? Press search, and here it is, Magazine Manager. Here are all the contacts, HA, Tech Support, Joan. These are all the different contacts I have with the Magazine Manager. If I want to add a new contact, let's say you're out in the field, you want to add a new contact. There it is. Very easy, very straightforward kind of stuff. We'll press go back here. You can look at sales run sheets on here. You've got your to-do list, employees for the admins. You can go in here and manage your employees. So you got your calendar. Everything else is right here. It's at your fingertips on the .mobi site. So just know that it's here. If you want further information or further training on this, work with your software consultant, and we'll be happy to actually work with you on this, okay? Speaking of calendar, I want to actually show you guys something. We've been talking forever about the Google Calendar integration. We're at a point of testing now where it's almost ready. It's almost there. And because I'm on a test server and this thing could do who knows what, but I was testing it earlier today, I was testing it this morning, and if I click on today's date for the 7th, it's connecting, it's going to Google, and it's getting all of my appointments. While that's refreshing, I'm going to actually go to my Google Calendar here so we can compare. All right, this is today. This is what I had on my calendar today. Lunch, 2 to 5 webinar delivery and post-webinar. Come over here and look at this. Lunch, webinar, post-webinar. Here's my Google Calendar. Same thing as on my calendar is here in Magazine Manager. It is here, guys. It's almost here. We are finishing testing. We are taking it through the last paces. We're going to put it through an external beta test. So it's not a fuzzy concept anymore. It's here. It's real. Notice the disconnect. The Google Calendar Sync is active. For you administrators who are on the phone, what you'll be able to do, you'll actually be able to control per employee in the employee editor. You're going to be able to actually turn on and off the ability to sync with Google Calendar. So if you don't want everybody doing it, you can turn it on and off here, just to let you know. All right. So just know that's there. One other thing I meant to show you, let's go back to the consultant's website here. When we were dealing with My Lists and I was talking about the accounts receivable portion of it being more as a collections tool. Well, sometimes sales reps are collections, all right? And some companies may want the sales reps, not just AR staff, accounting personnel, to get to the My List, get to the accounts receivable stuff. You can actually control specifically the accounts receivable feature in My List at an employee-by-employee level. Let me go with you real quick how to do that. In here, can view accounts receivable in My List. You have 3 features. You can turn it off, and you don't want your employees to see any AR stuff. You can allow access to the AR list for all customers. So you would probably put your accounting team on this particular level of access. If you want to lock it down, you want to give your sales rep invoice information, accounts receivable information just for their clients that they're assigned to as a primary rep, then you would choose this last option. They can see the AR access just for their clients that the sales rep is assigned to. So know that that feature is there and available. Sorry about that. Been talking a lot. Had to wet the whistle here. I've covered probably everything that I had on my list that I really wanted to cover, and we still have 20 minutes. I'm thinking if I would like to open up the floor for questions. I've done this once before. If I do this, however, I will ask that you keep all questions specifically related to what we've covered today, things that are dealing with my list, goals, mobile devices, meetings and callbacks, sales rep productivity. So I'm actually going to ask that you can raise your hand. I've turned the option for you to raise your hand. If you have a question, I'll unmute you. I'll take your question, and then we'll move on. So for those of you who want to raise a question, raise your hand. Go ahead and do so now. All right. First on the list, we have Andy. Andy, you're unmuted. How may I help you, Andy? Andy, can you hear me? If your mic is muted on your laptop, looks like you're using integrated mic and speakers. Okay, Andy, we'll come back to you. Sorry about that, buddy. Next, we have Anthony. Anthony Corpin.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, perfect. You mentioned iPad view with mobile stuff, but you didn't talk about it. And what about iPhone? I assume the Mobi works fine on iPhone as well.
Absolutely. Great question. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now, okay? Thank you. So on the iPad, absolutely. I did mention it, and I skimmed right up over it. What we suggest you do, and I actually personally have an iPad, and I personally use the iPad when I'm in the park or on the beach or out on the boat or whatever. But what you want to use, your full-blown web browser on the iPad and go to the .com site. I will tell you that it works a little bit differently. Notice how all of these different tabs open up within this one web tab. What will happen in the iPad as you click and normally have other tabs open, they're not going to open inside of this tab. They're going to open up in new tabs, new web tabs here. That's one of the few differences that happen, but because you're on a mobile device and it's a little bit different, you're going to experience probably 97% of the same experience. So definitely with that. And the Mobi site works on any smartphone, Safari, Chrome. I'm not sure what other browsers are out there for the smartphones. All right, Donna, I'm going to come to you. Donna has a question. Let's see. Okay, Donna, go ahead.
Hi, Mark. I was just wondering if the login and password was the same as Magazine Manager for the mobile.
It is. Your .mobi site is the exact same because it's tapping into the same database in the background. And I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute now, Donna. One thing I want to talk about, too, with that is that you guys have a .com. You have a .net. Remember what that .net site is for as a sales rep. You want to go in and you want to play with proposals. Speaking of proposals, I do want to talk about proposals. And you want to play with proposals, but you don't want to change anything on the .com, on the live site. You can go to your .net site. When you go to your .net site, this warning, red, anything in red is important. Pay attention. This is a backup site, a complete data and software backup site of your live site. This site gets overwritten, the data gets overwritten periodically, maybe once every 1 or 2 weeks. So whatever you want to do for the day, you want to try out a new proposal, try out a new formula and a custom field before you implement it in the live site, use your .net site. If for some reason your .com site is not working and you can't get into your .com site, then you have 2 other live sites that are backup sites. You also have one called .us. All right, this is the same as your .com site. It gets to your live database, live data, live everything. Along with that, you also have .info. .info is your other live site. So you have 3 live sites, .com, US, and info, and .mobi. Let's not forget 4 live sites. And you have a backup test site, .net. So I think a lot of you may not have known about that, but if you ever have trouble getting in, go ahead and go there. Kathy Johnson, I've unmuted you. Yes, Kathy? Kathy, I cannot hear you. Are you talking? Okay, Kathy, go ahead and raise your hand again. I'll come back to you. Nina Spiegelman. Nina, can you hear me? Okay, maybe Nina has her question answered. I'm going to mute you back again, Nina, okay? Ron, Mr. Ron Epstein has a question. Yes, Ron.
Good webinar. My question is, I saw the interaction on Google, and is there any chance that that's going to be moved into Outlook also?
Okay, great question, Ron. I'm going to put you on mute here. I'm so happy you asked that question, Ron. What the cool thing about this is, and so here's the deal. The calendar lives in Google, okay? The calendar lives in Google. We're going to connect to the Google Calendar and pull all this information out and put it into Magazine Manager. That is going to be a full two-way modification or edit. If you make a change in Magazine Manager, it will reflect here in Google. If you make a change in Google, it will reflect in Magazine Manager. Now, talking about calendars and Outlook, a lot of people like to use Outlook as their as the calendar. I'm here in Outlook Calendars. Guess what you can do? You can add a new calendar, and I'm going to have you Google it, how to do it, but you're basically going to be able to add a new calendar as an iCal object, I-C-A-L. And that iCal object will exist here in Outlook, and that iCal object is going to be the same Google Calendar that we're interfacing with or integrating with in Magazine Manager. So in 3 places, you're going to have that fully synchronized calendar, either here in Outlook, and remember, Outlook is just a client. It taps into your Exchange server or your IMAP server or your POP server. It also connects into external calendar programs, things like that. So because Microsoft offers that feature, that's going to allow you to actually get this in Outlook as well. So absolutely you can. What a great question. Thank you for sharing that question. Looking for more hands. Got one more hand. Andy, the last question I'll take now, and then I want to dive into the proposals a little bit. Let's look at some effective proposals. You have yourself on mute, Andy. If you want to ask a question, please unmute your phone. Okay, Andy, you're still on mute, sir, so I'm going to take the last question. Brig, you're off mute. How can I help you?
Just a quick question. I missed the very beginning due to a connection problem.
Okay.
How do you activate MyList?
Okay, activating MyList, you'll need to create a tech support or help support ticket here and request to have MyList turned on your site. And it will be done fairly quickly depending on the demand that we get, but you should probably 24, 48 hours have it turned on. When it's turned on, they'll close and you'll find it right here under customers here. Thank you. All right, one other thing, and I didn't have it written down here, but we talked about looking at proposals as a sales rep, how to splash up and make a little bit better your proposal. Even though you're not an administrator, as a sales rep, you have the power, you have the ability, you have the authority, you have the tools available for you to customize any particular proposal that you've created in the system. And let me show you how to do that. If your team is starting to introduce a lot of different packages where you could have 12, 15, 20 line items in your package, I can work with your administrators to show you how to set up a package where all of the card rate and the discounts and surcharges, all of these dollar amounts are hidden, and you can have one total amount down here. We have a lot of great new tools and features to help you be able to do that. Let's see if I can. Yep, I can actually do that here. I'll show you how to do that here. Here's a 12. Let's pretend that this is a package you want to send to your client, but you don't want this for them to see how much you're charging them for digital and how much you're charging them for the print costs. You just want them to see the $136,400 at the bottom of the proposal. In the display setup, in the line item area, line item block area here, under the print area, what you would do is if they're hidden, we want to they're collapsed, we want to uncollapse anything with dollars, and we want to make sure and hide barter, hide net, hide discounts, surcharges, and card rate. We're hiding these values, but they still exist because production and accounting and everybody needs to know how that money is being distributed for the deal. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save that change. We'll do the same thing with digital. Coming in here into digital, if they're collapsed, let's just uncollapse them because it's not going to work like you think and like you want. Also, if you have barter in here, you always want to make sure and have the subtract operator on barter, or the calculations are not going to work right in your proposal template. Be sure to have a plus on net and a negative on barter. Surcharges and discounts, they always get added by themselves. Oh, this is a great time to point out, too. I discovered the other day, and I don't know how long it's been in the system, but there's this cool piece of data that we put together. It covers the surcharge and the discounts, and it gives the description and the total. So what I've been having some customers do is let's get rid of your separate discount and the separate surcharge, and let's add the surcharges and discounts item here so that you can see if you want to show them. Let's put a collapse on it, right? If there's not one there, the column won't show up. But start using that. Get rid of, if you're using the description discount detail or the surcharge detail, all these other details, use this thing called charge and discount details. It'll include the description, the verbiage, and the dollar amount. So anyway, just wanted to point that out while we're here. Got to put a hide on here too because we're hiding money because we're creating a proposal template here. Going to hide that card rate too. Hide the cost per thousand. All right, let's go ahead and save what we have here. And now we'll view our proposal again and take a look at this. Now you have a what I like to call a package proposal. You're going to be in the March, April, May, June, July issue. You're going to be in the Action Tales website, banner ad, leaderboard ad for these date range, this date here, front cover, full page. And this whole package is going to cost you $136,400. But the client, the customer, doesn't know where that money breaks down. So this is going to be something, if you guys aren't doing it already, you're going to start getting into this arena here. Work with your software consultant to go back through and review your site setup if you need further help. And remember, this webinar, if you want to fast forward to around 52 minutes, 48, 50 minutes, make a note of that if you want to fast forward to the whole thing about packages. All right. So in the display setup, I'm just letting you know that you can customize this however you want. If you need to add some special notes here before in the lower text section, you can add some text here that will be here. This is special text that the client says, I really want to see it on my contract. I don't care. I'm not going to sign it without it. Put it in here. Here it is. This is special text right above advertising terms and conditions or whatever. Press save. Now, all these changes you're only making to this individual proposal or contract. And remember, what is a proposal? A proposal is nothing more than an unsigned contract. So we made this change here. We can preview, take a look. The client takes a look at it. Okay, thank you very much. I've got my text here. I'll sign it. Here you go. Let's do business. Okay. I'm going to open up, if you'll raise your hand if you'd like, if you have a question about what I just talked about with proposals here, making the proposal nicer, more effective, however, feel free to ask that question. All right. I don't see any hands at this point. So this brings us to 55 minutes. I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. I'm very excited about these new features that we've been talking about and been promising, and they are here. They are coming. Let me go ahead and, just throw in something else to buzz about is digital tear sheets. If you're not using Digital Studio yet, and your accounting department, if your accounting department's spending 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day or per billing cycle, ripping out a page or getting the tear sheets and including them with the invoices, we've got on a great feature. I personally love this feature coming up with the ability, if you're uploading your PDFs in Digital Studio, you'll be able, we're working on a feature to be able to include that digital tear sheet along with the invoicing process so that you don't have to do the physical tear sheets anymore. So, it's got some really, really cool stuff coming up, and we appreciate everyone's input as you all use the system. You help us come up with some great ideas and great new features and functionality. I encourage you to do so to continue to communicate those features and functionality, you can come in here to the ticketing system here, and one of the categories here at the bottom is the wish list request, new feature, new item. Be as descriptive about this feature as you can to help define the requirements or specifications for that feature. That'll do it for me. Everyone have a great day. Thank you very much for attending. Bye-bye.